And welcome back, everybody. Today I'm going to be climbing the PU ladder. I just decided PU looked like a fun tier to jump into, so I'm starting at the bottom of the ladder, so I'm not using a crazy competitive team or anything. I mean, the team, I tried. I'm exclusively using Pokemon that I have the figurines of. And looking at that team, I have a Honedge with No Guard, Eviolite, Adamant. Its typing really helps it get off the Sword Stance and Shadow Sneak, so it's a pretty useful mon, especially hiding behind dual screens, which comes from my Meganium. Reflect, Light Screen, Light Clay, that good stuff. Earthquake and Giga Drain as coverage moves. I have a Sableye, not a Mega Sableye, a regular Sableye, Calm. It's really like the classic Sableye that was used in like 6th gen with the Will-O-Wisp, Calm Mind, Dark Pulse, Recover. You know, I would do Shadow Ball, but I get walled by ghost types. So it is a fun Pokemon to use. Prankster's super annoying. I would hate to be the opponent against me. That's why I'm using it. I've gotten like trolled by Sableyes before. Next up is a Lapras. It is Assault Vest, Modest, Ice Shard, Surf, Freeze Rise, Psychic. Pretty good coverage. I mean, Psychic, hidden incoming, fighting type, Ice Shard, that little priority there. And I am running Modest, but I really didn't want to sacrifice anything, and I thought, you know, most of the time the Ice Shards are doing like quad damage anyway, but that's subject for change. Next we have a Sandslash, Hans Molman. He is Sand Rush, Leftovers Jolly, max HP and speed, Stealth Rock, Rapid Spin, Toxic, Earthquake. It's an okay. I can definitely see how this guy is PU, but he's good at what he does. He's like a poor man's Don fan, really. And yeah, he does have problems with Pokemon off the ground. If they aren't afraid of Toxic and they're off the ground, then he's pretty much screwed in that situation. And last but not least, the Z-Move Mon is the Kangaskhan. He is awesome, Adamant. He's running like all normal because of his Scrappy ability and Earthquake for those Rock and Steel types. So, this first match is against Trent Burb. He's got a pretty standard looking, I don't even know what standard looks like, but he has a Mimikyu, which is definitely terrifying, Toucannon, which is probably going to be a wall breaker of sorts, and just a lot of Pokemon. And I really expect him to lead with like a Mudsdale here. As such, I bring out my Lapras first off. But he leads with his Toucannon, and I don't think this is too scary until I see he goes for Rock Blast. And they're just ticking away, and it looks like I'm exactly going to die here, but I live on 1 health. He takes Life Orb, and I get him with that Freeze Dry, which was awesome. Yeah, I'm Assault Vested, so I was not hoping to take any physical moves there. Sends out his Lycanroc, which pretty obviously was going to go for Accelerock. I mean, he had no other play. He was trying to block the Ice Shard. Easy switch into Hans Molman, who can get off a Toxic, which is beautiful. I knew whatever Pokemon came in, he was not going to appreciate being Toxic. So that definitely works out. That's why I prioritize that over Rocks. I get an easy switch into my Meganium as the Toxic starts whittling away down at him. Pyukumuku comes in, the Pokemon I'm most afraid of here. I take a Giga Drain to see how much it does, and it's a crit actually, so it's okay. I mean, I definitely wanted to gauge that damage, but that Toxic on me is not good at all. Especially if he goes for double Toxic, that'd be an amazing play, but not this far down on the ladder, I'd assume. It comes in, the Exeggutor against Meganium matchup is here again. And really, since I only have Giga Drain and Earthquake, I have no business staying in here too long on him. But it looks like that's the best he's got against me, is just a Psychic. So I switch in on what I expect to be another Psychic. And it is definitely far too early to start setting up Calm Minds with this Sableye here. So I don't even try to go for the Calm Mind since it's unaware. I could go for the Will-O-Wisp, but a Toxic on me is not what I'm about to do. I send in my Sandslash, which I mean, I feel like he sees Sandslash come in, so he knows that this is my best counter. Like, him logically looking at me wanting to switch in Sandslash, he should have kind of seen the Toxic coming, but so that's why I used Stealth Rock first over Toxic. I thought he might immediately switch out. Fortunately for me, Stealth Rock lowers his guard, and I get the Toxic up. But he reveals that he's dual screens, and dual screens on his side is a lot scarier. This Hone Edge versus Mudsdale is just a terrible, terrible matchup in my favor. There's nothing I can do, especially behind a Reflect. Like, I don't even want to touch him and get the stamina off. I switch in Lapras here, thinking he might go for Stealth Rock, thinking that's the last chance I have to get in my Lapras. But not the case. He gets me on an Earthquake. That's alright. And this Exeggutor reveals itself to be Starfberry, which is, I mean, hilarious. It's a +2 boost in a random stat. So he's harvesting a berry, has a 50% chance to get a berry every turn, and just pop it under 50 health and get a +2 in his stats. But like I said, I have no business really being in on this guy, and I guess neither does he, since I can just continually go for screens and live at least one hit. But he gets in his Pyukumuku, which is Toxic, so I'm like, oh, I don't have to be afraid of it, and especially now that I see he only has Toxic. He has dual screens recover Toxic, so my Steel type is 10,000% safe to just come in here and hang out. Except for the fact that he has Reflect, and this Mudsdale is just like too tempted to come in. So I even get off the +4 Swords Dance, but I'm not even tempted to go for it against this Mudsdale. I can safely switch in my Sand Slash, eat an Earthquake, which honestly does a little bit more than I was hoping it would. I guess I have Light Screen, not Reflect. And I landed Toxic on him, which is amazing. Like, that was definitely worth it, getting a Toxic on Mudsdale, because I really don't have a lot of other good ways of whittling it down as fast as it could whittle me down. I send in Meganium, thinking maybe I can Giga Drain at least something back. But no, I go for Light Screen. Damn, that was a total misclick right there. I have to be kicking myself for going for a Light Screen when I already had a Light Screen. Oh, jeez. That's why this is the bottom of the ladder. These mistakes won't fly higher up. But his Exeggutor finally goes down. He sends out his Bayonet, which isn't too scary. I probably should have been more scared of it. These things, like to Destiny Bond, I'm noticing Will-O-Wisp Destiny Bond, things like that, and smacking me with a paralysis right there. Looking at my team, really, Sableye could definitely do a lot of work to all of these Pokemon. Being paralyzed doesn't slow him down. He still has priority and could go before really fast Pokemon like Lycanroc. But I kill him, not seeing the Destiny Bond coming, and take my own Sableye out of the game, unfortunately. I get in my Capri Sun, the Kangaskhan, and he Swords Dances right in my face, but I go for Earthquake. I guess he really didn't see Earthquake come in there. Yeah, you couldn't really come back from that. And he had a Toxic last two Pokemon too, so that one turns in my favor. Which brings us to our second battle. This one is against a very cool looking team. It's got the Sliggoo, which honestly I don't think is very cool. I've used Sliggoo competitively before, and it's a letdown. Alolan Persian, Golurk, Sawsbuck, Kabutops, and the Heatmore. So a really cool looking team. I'd love to see like Heatmore display what it can do, because I'm really just here to learn what's going on in the PU tier. First off, I'm sending out Sand Slash and lead Sliggoo, which is really weird. I don't really know what Sliggoo wants to come in here and do, but I see an Ice Beam, and I'm like, I have an Assault Vested Quad Resisted Pokemon that might want to come in on an Ice Beam. He uses a Draco Meteor, but still, max health Assault Vest Sliggoo is a joke. And I go for the Hard Surf on the Heatmore switch in. Bam. I mean, Ice Beam was the safe play to go for, but it was just too obvious. Sends out Sawsbuck, and I knew Sawsbucks could set up, so I stay in here, freeze dry, and he's probably like, oh, I've only seen special moves. Bam. Get a hit him with that physical ice move. So, you know, a little bit of unpredictability never hurts. But I don't know. He still had an Alolan Persian, so that was definitely a premature forfeit right there. Which brings us to our third battle against Shuratina Draco. And this person's team looks really cool. We got an Unfezant, Dusknoir, Ninjask, Alolan Exeggutor, Gabite, and a Mawile. So this is definitely the type of team that I like seeing. Really cool Pokemon, and just looking to jump into it. I guess a Gabite lead made sense, so I led with my Lapras, but I really expected it to be like a lead Garchomp, Taunt, Earthquake, Stealth Rock. So I go for Ice Shard, thinking that that'll 2-hit KO it. Derp. A Freezer I would have been an awesome play there, but unfortunately he gets off the Hone Claws and the Stone Edge. When I saw Hone Claws, I should have put Stone Edge together too, but I couldn't bring in Hone Edge on it. It would have been Sand Slash. I do get that Reflect up, and honestly now it's showing me Iron Head. I did not see any of this coming from a lead Gabite. I'm realizing it doesn't even have Stealth Rock at this point. I send in Crystallize since I have the Reflect up, but I miss a Will-O-Wisp, which is totally unfortunate. Crystallize doesn't really mind. It does appreciate the Reflect being up, and now that I actually land that burn, we're still going to be like taking not too much damage, especially when I can recover before he makes a move. So right now I'm kind of relying on the burn to do all the damage for me. And at this point, I think he might switch, but no, he's set up way too much, so he's not really going anywhere. Dark Pulsing right there probably would have been better than sending back in the Meganium just to set up screens back again. But that was the plus of what I did. I sent Meganium back in, hopefully able to set up another screen. Not really the case since this Unfezant comes out, and honestly, it probably carries Defog anyway. Could have gotten rid of him. But I send in my Sand Slash, hoping to get a Stealth Rock off, but it shows me Taunt, which is very scary because he outspeeds like all of my Pokemon right here. So that's super not cool, since it even outspeeds my Kangaskhan. Like, I did not know what I was going to do. Since it showed me Night Slash too, it can really hit all of my Pokemon, and especially with Taunt, I am not sure how I'm going to have to get past this. I just start doing these crazy switches where I know he is going to want to taunt the Sand Slash and attack the Sableye. So I switch in Sableye, unfortunately, on this crit and get the burn off before he can taunt me. But now I guess he knows I can't recover, and I just got to switch right back out of here and go into Sand Slash. But fortunately, I got that burn off, and his damage is doing nothing. Like, I'm recovering more from leftovers than he's really doing, since that was a crit. But he hits me with the taunt as I straight come in, so he definitely knows what I'm up to at this point, and I just keep going back and forth. Honestly, this is looking more like the Gabite matchup where I had the burn do all the damage for me. He does get out his Ninjask, and honestly, Ninjask is kind of scary because it's the same deal. Like, I can't get much off. I can't attack him any more than just getting a Toxic on him. And obviously, he outspeeds everything that could ever potentially even like be in this tier, I feel like. Well, I guess Electrode. But he U-turns on the incoming Hone Edge, takes nothing from that, which is exactly what I like to see. It's like a baby Doublade is how I play it. And he sends in the Mawile, and I do know about Sheer Force, Swords Dance, Sucker Punch, Mawile type of things. But I send in Hans Molman, who cannot pick up the KO. And hilariously enough, it's a double down, which is perfect because if he would have had a free Sucker Punch, he definitely could have done a lot of damage in those last turns. So I squeak by that matchup, and here we have the Sableye versus Alolan Exeggutor. Alolan Exeggutor is a very bulky Pokemon, like its predecessor, regular Exeggutor. Seeing that the Energy Ball did about 50 damage right there, I am definitely sweating bullets here. He has a lot of Pokemon, and I do not have a lot of ways of breaking through it easily. He does go for the Sleep Powder. I almost thought he was just going to Flamethrower or something like that, but I guess he clearly doesn't carry it, or he would have went for it by now. So he puts me asleep, which sucks. Fortunately, Kangaskhan is going to outspeed, but, for how long? I honestly forgot about my own Scrappy, and go for Energy Ball thinking Dusknoir would come in, but duh, I have Scrappy. I forgot about my own important ability. I could have, oh god, could have saved myself so much headache. I could have gone for like a Normalium Z on this Alolan Executor and knocked him into the next century. But, you know, that would have had its own faults. It would have invited in the Unfezant right then and there, who could have gotten off a taunt, and this Sableye would have been dead weight. Which, as you can see now, he is not. I am rolling the dice, the 3-sided dice, where one of the options is that I get a special defense drop and just start losing. Like, I just get so lucky right here, spamming Recover. Honestly, I'm kind of keeping tabs on how low his Energy Ball is going, because he has been using Energy Ball a lot. It might be his only attacking move. You know, I'm at 27 health, back up to 33. Really, I'm kind of netting just a small handful of HP each turn. But he goes for the Sleep Powder, which is probably the right move. But now I'm just going for Calm Mind, because I'm gonna live the 1 classically, and hopefully wake up, recover, and just avoid all this nonsense. So I wake up on the perfect turn. If I would have woken up a turn later, you know, like, this Sableye would be dead, but I'm dangling by a thread right now. Calm Mind at this low of health. Perfectly live that, like, whew. Sableye, is, I don't even know, he's gonna have to wear a brace from carrying the entire team on his back for this long. He's gotta do something. And I get the flinch on the low Alolan Executor health. Like, this is the luckiest Sableye. Sableye has a lucky egg or a lucky puncher. It's doing something right. So out comes this Unfezant, and Taunt really is what makes any sense at all here. So luckily, I go for Recover. It goes for Night Slash and gets a crit. I guess, you know, that didn't really make that big a difference. It is burned. Taunt would have been his better play there, to be quite honest, because I have 3 non-attacking moves. Unfortunately, his last Pokemon are weak or neutral to these. Dark Pulse is the only thing I can really throw out in return. So, lucky me, or lucky him, really. He's getting crits left and right, but I guess he has a higher rate with that item, maybe, if he's holding it. So I do have the rocks up. Thankfully, that Ninjask can't just come in at full health, but now we see Dusknoir, and I'm really thinking Will-O-Wisp, Toxic would be bad, but I'm taunted, so I can't really go for anything but this Dark Pulse at the moment. So I finally get to see what his set is, and it is Toxic, so, you know, I think a Toxic Hex thing might come out, but honestly, these things are stronger physically than specially, and I already have a special defense boost to my maxed out Calm Sableye, so special attacks are not the way to be busting through. And last but not least, it's Ninjask versus Sableye. Obviously, I get outsped, but I have Prankster, so I have that on my side. And let's see, I could go straight for the Will-O-Wisp, but he goes for Substitute. Thank God I don't go for that Will-O-Wisp and waste turns and take a crap load of toxic damage from that. I go for the Dark Pulse and break his sub easily, and he has 1 chance to knock me out here before I can knock him out back. Nope, does 25 damage, and I'm able to end this game with Dark Pulse. So this was just a ridiculous battle that I honestly should have lost. I flinched, I woke up on the right turns, I lucked out. And he had a Taunt Unfezant, which just outsped and hurt my entire team. So Unfezant honestly is someone I'm gonna have to look out for in the future. I definitely like doing this PU battles. I think I'm just gonna be climbing more in the tier. So look forward to that. And peace, guys.